statement. There will come a point when we reach the end of your statement when I will have to test what the correctness of what you're saying. But I will give you notice when we reach that point, so you know when to be on your guard, as it were. With that introduction, Mr. Mokgotsi, can I just check that you have in front of you both the file called Statement and the file called Annexures, File 202?
Yeah, they're in my possession, thank you.
And so we will start with your statement, and there is a fairly lengthy introductory section that runs from page 1 through to paragraph 13 on page 4, which explains the approach to you from the Commission, the notices that were sent to you and your responses. I don't think we need to dwell on it in any detail. But will you merely confirm that what you, well, maybe we should start at the very beginning. Can I ask you to go to the end of your statement, page 25, and confirm that the signature that we see on page 25 is your signature?
That's my signature, that's correct, Commissioner.
And that the contents of the statement that you have furnished to the Commission are true and correct?
True and correct, that's correct.
To go back then, paragraphs 3 to 13 really set out the background to the Commission's engagement with you and what happened in leading up to your furnishing of the statement that we received on Saturday. Beyond confirming that those paragraphs are correct, is there anything in relation to those paragraphs that you would like to highlight, to amplify, before we move on to the substance of your statement?
No, they are correct.
Thank you.
I'm satisfied.
Then, if we can start with the substantive part of your statement, and maybe you can start at paragraph 50 and tell the Commission about your history that you set out in paragraph 15.
Thank you, Commissioners. I gained a lot of experience in the clandestine gathering of intelligence and the practices of counter-informant for the South African Police Service in 1999. During 2009, I was registered and thereafter acted as an agent for crime intelligence in the South African Police Service.
And can you explain to the Commission the difference between an informant and an agent?
You see, an informant will be any person. It even happens in different situations. We may be a group of 3 probably doing something illegal or stealing, and when I happen to be arrested alone, the moment I tell the police the truth and tell them, even yesterday we stole something and we left it at a particular place, and the police goes there and find whatever that I'm saying, and further probably tell the police, look, even next week or tomorrow we are planning to break somewhere, and the police goes there and they find that it's true, my friends were attempting to steal or they were breaking, the particular person can also be regarded as an informant, or a police officer may be knowing the movement of this person, his environment, and may also make that particular person an informant. But when it comes to a contact agent will be recruited by a crime intelligence officer or official. And that recruitment will include certain things based on your history. They'll also, usually they'll even recruit an individual who has been an informant for some time. There is a particular paragraph in here which gives the difference between an informant, the definition a co-handler. But what I need to emphasize, and a co-agent, sorry, a co-agent, unlike a...
Sorry, can I just clarify, when you say co-agent, are you referring to contact agent?
Contact agent, okay, contact agent. A contact agent is having a different, is usually empowered with an instrument that is utilized by all organizations, criminal intelligence organizations in the world. It's a very sophisticated instrument. It's called the legend building. In its definition, it's more like creating a false life or a backstory created for a clandestine operatives. It is an essential component of spy cover identity designed to withstand scrutiny and conceal the identity. Now, this contact agent, as I said, there is a particular paragraph which gives, it's paragraph 18. It says a contact agent is a person who is recruited by a crime intelligence officer, which is referred to as a handler. A contact agent is expected to establish a network of sources and informants in order to execute the task, and the handler would from time to time assign to the contact agent in the field. It goes to say a contact agent does not carry any form of identification which would refer to him or her as holding that designation, because a file with the contact agent details is kept in custody of his or her handler's possession. Now, all payments for services rendered by a contact agent and disbursement incurred in the execution of his or her duties as a contact agent are paid in cash by the handler after having completed the necessary paperwork. And usually, a handler would recruit a contact agent with the knowledge that the contact agent has been informant for South African police services proceeding his or her recruitment. And it further says, a contact agent can thus be described as a person who acts as a link between an intelligence service and informant or undercover operative. He or she passes information, instruction, or resources between the two while protecting the identities of those involved. He further manages the safety and secrecy of the communication channel used. For example, in South Africa, Crime Intelligence Division, a contact agent might liaise with police intelligence officers and civilian sources who provide information about criminal activities and or investigation.
If I can just clarify a couple of issues. You talk about payments. Can I ask, when you were an informant, were you ever paid for your services as informant?
As an informant, yes, you would be reimbursed in some way.
And as an agent, have you been paid as an agent?
Yeah, when recruited, you will obviously, after meeting your handler, after a week or so, he'll come and probably give a recruitment fee of some sort, and you will gradually be talking about your tasks and so forth, and here and there he will assist you and bring you some payment, which all the time you'll have to sign some papers on receiving of that payment.
And when you as an agent run informants or have informants, are you empowered to pay them, the informants underneath you?
Commissioners, there is no way. You may just know that a particular informant has claimed so and so much true, and because you will be talking to the handler, there's no way you can pay. It is only the handler who can pay the informant. And just to add, Commissioners, even the handler on doing the payment will never come with a friend or a colleague. It will only be you and the handler.
So if your informants were paid, it wasn't you who paid them, it was one of your handlers who would pay them?
Commissioner, can you repeat the question?
So if your informants, the informants who you had when you were building a network as an agent, if they were paid, it would be the handlers who paid them, not
It will
you?
be the handlers, that's correct.
You've talked generally, you mentioned building a legend. Can you just explain to the Commission what you meant by that regard, in that regard?
The legend building. This instrument, when I said you will create a false life, in one of the statements, you'll see I said one of my communications with General Mokgotsi, for example. I sent him a message that how is your relationship between yourself and Lieutenant General Kumalo? And he asked, what did he say? And I said, no, he was putting a remark that you are not listening to the crime intelligence. But the moment he advanced more question, I said, the minister has been briefed, or I said, General Khan will brief you next week. It's just to create a false life. You create a perception that the person can start talking to you.
But in your case, the legend that you created didn't involve any different identity from your actual identity as Brown Mokgotsi. You didn't.
Yes, I remained Brown Mokgotsi.
Can you then take the Commission to paragraph 16 of your statement and explain what happened in December 2020?
During December 2020, I was called by the late Lieutenant General Mfazi. It was just after the PPE scandal, after the COVID-19. And it was also after the arrest of Divisional Commissioner Lieutenant General Jacobs, Major General Kalakala and others. And when he called me for a task in my capacity as a contact agent to investigate, also to check the irregularities within the crime intelligence and South African Police Service. And that time, Lieutenant General Mfazi was the Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detection.
And I mean, you refer to a brief to look into irregularities within crime intelligence and SAPS. That's quite a general brief. Was there anything in specific that you were specifically that you were asked to look at?
Yeah, for example, that period he referred to, there was reference about procurement of some vehicles by crime intelligence, which could not be traced, and other transactions. For example, you would have a proof of payment to informers, and you will want to establish if really these informers did receive those payments and so forth.
Can you continue then to paragraph 17?
Yes, that's where Lieutenant General Mfazi introduced wanted the particular handler to be my handler, and I told him no, but I do have a handler, General Mfazi, who was Warrant Officer Mabizela, but then the one that he called, we then agreed that he'll be my co-handler.
So Lieutenant General Mfazi essentially gave you a co-handler to work alongside Mabizela.
That's correct.
And as far as you were concerned, was there any division of labor between the two handlers? Was there work that you did with Mabizela but not your co-handler, and work that you did with the co-handler and not Mabizela?
No. Yes, we will. The handler is the one who will always give you tasks, but in circumstances where the handler is not available, will also say, please talk to the, or I have spoken to the co-handler, please work with him in this particular project.
So as far as you were concerned, the handlers were a team that was managing you. There wasn't as though Mabizela dealt with you in relation to a particular project. Co-handler had nothing to do with that, but he dealt with a different project.
Now, if there is a project, the co-handler will know and be notified by the handler. A co-handler will not initiate any mission without the main handler, the handler himself.
Now, in paragraph 19, you indicate that you need to protect the identity of the co-handler. And you say he undertook to be interviewed by me, and that interview, in fact, took place yesterday. I don't want you to name the co-handler in open commission, but can I ask you just to write on a piece of paper which you will show to the commissioners the name of the co-handler, so that if at a later stage the co-handler is called to testify, we know that we're talking to the same person.
Commissioners, may I approach my counsel, please?
Well, the Madlanga Commission there in full swing. Brown Mokgotsi taking the stand, just consulting there. But obviously, as we understand, this is the second phase of that commission where implicated individuals have a chance to respond to some of the allegations that really have come to the fore. Brown Mokgotsi on the stand, he's alleged to have facilitated payments from Vusibuzi Matlala, testifying today. They're resuming. Let's take a listen back in as that continues.
Take the piece of paper up to the commission.
Thank you.
On second thoughts, can I also see the piece of paper?
May I ask that Mr. Mokgotsi should please write the first name as well, if he knows it. Thank you.
When you're not testifying, off your microphones because it gets recorded.
All right, the Madlanga Commission there continues. Let's take, of course, those are live visuals through Brown Mokgotsi on the stand right now. The Commission really looking at some of those implicated individuals, giving them a chance to respond. That inquiry continues, and with that phase 2 continuing, we do understand there have been some activity happening outside of the Commission by Meksu workers there. They were disgruntled, raising some concerns, but that delayed the Commission ever so slightly by a few minutes. As I mentioned, phase 2 in underway. Phase 1 not completely finished, but obviously phase 2 getting underway now, and the opportunity really has been placed before the Commission for some of those who have been implicated to respond to some of those allegations. We're looking at the rigorous test that's going to be employed at this point with the evidence that had been presented in phase 1. And so, we're obviously looking at some of these institutions, or representatives of institutions that have been invited or they were compelled at this point. That continues. Let's take a listening further.
expanded?
At first, it came about most of the missions which were done in like informants working with the police, how the claims of informants will be inflated on the original submission as opposed to what the informant will receive. But most importantly was the coordination in the crime intelligence in terms of, I may just give you one example. There was a time when an instruction was given out that all informants would receive a flat rate amount, whereas when claims are done, you see a different. You'll just get a different thing. And remember, commissioners.
What do you mean by seeing a different thing?
Different amount, like it was now known, and that's what created a big problem for the crime intelligence, when all informers were given a flat rate of 3,000 rand, irrespective of the work they have done. And I believe as we continue, one will give you tangible explanation, evidence that shows how the crime intelligence actually got affected to where we are today. Yes.
Just to be sure I understand you, Mr. Mokgotsi, are you saying the informants would be paid a flat rate, but when the claim was made in respect of